Leonard Schultz. I am the photographer that was lucky enough to photograph this collection of ladies. For the last year and a half of effort to photograph this open call for elders at ages 60 and ups. We photographed 38 elders from the age of 65 to 102. As you can see from the photographs, the stories on the QR codes, you can go to those and it goes to the website. Not all of them, as you can tell, are fully fleshed out as far as the stories go. I have part of the deal when we started the project was the first part of the grant that we received, and me and Minister Gijo and I partnered together to create this. We originally were going to just do the photography first in order to separate the trauma and the PTSD that could be related to these stories. We wanted to photograph the ladies and then come back at another day and tell the stories. That was part of the second grant we were intending to get, but unfortunately we did not get that grant, the second grant, halfway through the project. So when we started, I was halfway through, and it was the day where one of our 102-year-old grandmother was arriving, and one of the other ladies who was in her second round of chemo came in the same day. So I just looked at my partner, my translator and cultural representative who was with me at the time, and we just said, we're just doing it. We just self-funded our own storytelling of all of this and created 26 up to half an hour stories. We just told the elders that imagine if all of your family came into the kitchen from all over the world and just say, what's the story? What is the story? And to make sure that the stories were representative of the trials and the struggles that were real and not protective language to protect their families, but more of a historical record to preserve the challenges that they went through and in some cases the horror. Sorry, I get a little emotional talking about it, but the elders, to be able to provide a safe place for them to be able to tell these stories was really left a big impression on me. Them just recounting that, even though I didn't know the language, I didn't need to, really didn't. Even from translation, it was difficult, but at the same time, to provide that space for them was an absolute honor for me to be able to do that. And what is becoming of this now is that we're going back and telling these stories, transcribing their stories as part of language curriculum to help preserve the language and preserve the historical records of their journeys in their words and not in ours. And that, it's everything. I mean, it's everything for the culture, and to be able to see these ladies as strong and prominent as they are. A little bit about the photography itself. I took, when I was finally thinking about when we got the grant, I said, okay, how am I going to pull this off? Because I wasn't quite sure how I would go about doing it. I looked at the ladies and I said, their strength and prominence to me looked to, first thing that hit in my mind were the tintypes that were taken from of the indigenous war chiefs of Sitting Bull and that and those pieces. And from there my mind drifted to, the old masters of the 1600s paintings, all the way up to the 1800s of the British royalty and wealth and of the upper classes, and their prominence and the way that they would stand and their strength, right? And so when I saw these ladies, I looked at them and I just went, these ladies, what they their stature may be small. Someone believes I have some pictures if you want to see them of one of the grandmas who is literally this tall next to me, and it was super cute. But I wanted them to have the same prominence as those people that were rich in wealth and rich in power, but their rich in spirituality is far surpasses any of that. And I wanted to preserve that in a manner that respected their place in the new world as opposed in literally being an ancient. These elders in some cases are ancient people with stories in their head from thousands of years that are not written down. Because the written language is not old. It's 60 years, 70 years?
About 60.
60 years of written language. Their stories are passed down from generation to generation to generation, and now the language is dying off. The younger kids trying, it's a language you have to be in all the time to learn. It's not something you just pick up like that. So there's a fall off, but that's one of the missions that Minnesota Zizhak does, is preserving, just to empower the community to do youth camps, to create opportunities to create curriculum for the kids, and that's what these images are. The videos that we've recorded, the stories that we're telling, are becoming schoolroom curriculum that can be used to help tell the histories and also teach the language to the kids. Also, they're involved in creating opportunities for language learning and authoring books and all these educational platforms to work on. So, Dr. Yang, if you'd like to come and talk and tell a little bit about the mission of what Minnesota Zizhak does.
Thank you, Richard. My name is Yang. I'm the board chair of Minnesota Zizhak, and I'm super excited to be here. My wife accompanied me today, so we are here, and thanks, Richard, for the opportunity. As Richard mentioned, we are an oral culture, so everything that my parents and my grandparents told me, it's passed down orally, right? And as you know, over the years, the stories kind of differ, but when we put it how Richard's doing it here, we photograph it, we record our stories. That story will stay the same year after year, generation after generation, and our kids are able to look at these photographs, listen to the videos, the stories, and that will be their way of learning. So what Richard mentioned, Minnesota Zizhak here, that's our mission to keep our language and culture alive. We just got done with our iStride camp, which is a Hmong language camp over at North Henderson Community College. That just concluded on Friday. So I'm super excited to be here today. However, looking forward, our funding and whatnot has been very restricted, have been cut for the few years that's coming up here. So we are here to hopefully still keep our program alive, partner with folks like Richards to get projects like this going, and to keep our mission and our work going. So again, thank you all for coming here today. I appreciate you all, and I'm going to give the mic back to Richard.
Thank you. So if you do feel the call to help us out, there's opportunities you can talk to Dr. Yang, and there's also some places to donate if you feel the call. So other than that, if there's any questions that anybody has, I can help out, or I can answer any. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Where will these photographs go after here?
The photographs from here, we're looking at displaying them in different locations through the rest of the year as well, because this is the 50th anniversary of the first wave of the arrival. So there's lots of events going on. And I know once summer gets over, then there's some near the end of the year that are coming up. I'm hoping that I'm going to get some stuff into the Pan Asian area at Maplewood Mall. And then there's a couple other events that are happening that I'm hoping to get into. So they're still in the works, but hopefully I'll be able to get that information out. But if anybody has any opportunities that they would like to show them, please contact me. I mean, we've done single day pop-ups of these images in multiple locations over the first course of the year. Probably 7 or 8 showings during the first part of the year. So they are available. Yes?
Could either you tell about the dress and the medals?
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm wearing here is Among Us, and I was sharing with a few of the folks here that these are handmade, so it can take anywhere from several months to a year. And significantly, these coins are French coins, where Laos was colonized by the French. So that's when we were introduced to these coins, and we were like, hey, it looks beautiful, let's throw it on their clothing. So that's where the coins came from, and the vest here, it's handmade by probably a Hmong grandma somewhere around the world.
Yeah, and mine was made by Sama Meng, who's in that picture right there with the tapestry behind her. I had purchased a cheap one at Hmong New Year because I wasn't festive enough, as I was told. And so I was wearing that, and she came up to me, she saw me, and she grabbed her daughter, and to translate, she came up to me, she grabbed it and shook it, and she went like this. and the daughter rolled her eyes and said, Grandma's gonna hook you up. So then I just got this amazing piece that she made in the mail. So just beautiful with the little chrysanthemum on the back and everything. It's just treasure this forever. It's just amazing. Yes.
Do you have any communities of families in White Bear area?
I'm sure in White Bear there's yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's
So
some
could you do
folks
a
in the
show
White
at the
Bear
White
area.
Bear Center for the Arts?
absolutely, I would love to. I haven't had a chance to contact them yet. And I'm from Alameda originally, so it's like right in my backyard. I would love to be able to do that. I will probably reach out to them soon to see if I can get in.
It'd be nice to see some of the people here, there.
Yeah.
In the photos.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, and you know, with everything that's going on at this part of the year, there's so many events going on that, you know, I was hoping that some of the ladies would be able to make it, but it's just kind of, you never know what comes up. There was another question over here? My mother? Yes, Lucia.
Since I never hear anything,
Yeah.
tell them about what they're made out of, those flowers.
Oh, yeah, the flowers are folded dollar bills.
You really can't tell it.
Yeah, they're little butterflies on the thing with little antennas. So yeah, you can come up and see this. But yeah, she folded these all for, you know, luck and good fortune. So yeah, just really a sweet gift for that. So
I love the QR codes
Oh.
because you can hear the women's voices, and as you said, even if you don't know what the story is, you can hear the joy and you can hear the hardship and the tears. I'm particularly impressed by their hands. So then we get to see their hands and their faces and hear their voices.
yeah.
And I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about the props or the items
Yeah.
that some women are holding or using.
For sure. Yeah, in a lot of cases, what my goal was for the set, first of all, I wanted to find something that looked to be, you know, of the region, but I didn't want it to have too much of a Chinese, because so much of the stuff has like a Chinese styling, and I didn't want it to be Chinese for good reason, you know. So I found these pieces. It took me about a month and a half, and literally 30 antique stores around the Twin Cities area. And one of my friends actually procured the bench and the table for me. The backdrop is a piece hand painted by Sarah Oliphant, who does all of Annie Leibovitz's backdrops. I mean, if you've seen the cover of Vanity Fair, these are the pieces. So it's literally like the only world-class thing that I own, and will ever own, that's for sure. But I mean, I specifically saw it and I just went, this is it. And I'm lucky that I got this one-of-a-kind piece to be part of this exhibition to create these images. The pieces that, in some cases, there's some really unique things, right? For instance, the pot that's in Sal's picture here. That pot, her family, her husband was in the military, so she had access to the PX. So she bought that pot from the PX, but when they had to leave, that's one of the things that she grabbed. So when on their journey through the jungle and everything, that pot fed everybody along the way. Then, when they got to the camp, that pot cooked the rice for everybody in their area. So when she was telling me this, she goes, thousands of people ate from that pot. She gave that pot back to her mother, who was staying in Laos, when she got permission to go to the United States. Then, 10 years later, her grandmother ended up coming to the United States, and she brought the pot back and gave it to her as a gift. Then, that pot fed all the kids in the neighborhood. Because her house was where all the kids from the neighborhood, if they didn't have enough to eat or just for gathering, that pot became the centerpiece of their entire family. So these items are, sacred. And I mean, there's pieces that you look over here, like the second image in, there's a silver bar in Gay's hand. That silver bar, there's two silver bars. Is that what it is? One of them is like for dowry, and the other one is to prove that he has wealth enough to marry. Is that what I think that's what she said? That is the bar from her grandmother. The fourth image over, for instance, is a jaw harp that's in her hand. If you look very carefully, that jaw harp is what her husband made. Her husband was a blacksmith, and he would make those jaw harps in the camp to sell and trade for things. But they used the jaw harp to communicate across the river in their town, because they would speak through it to because they weren't really allowed to talk to their boyfriend-girlfriend type thing, so she and her husband would use that, or she and her then boyfriend would talk across the river with each other at night. So that's how they would communicate in their village. But a lot of these things, there's just amazing little stories that just would not be around if it wasn't for these ladies coming to talk.
Is this the 100
and that the one in the middle, that's the 102-year-old grandmother. Those are her tools of her trade, which she's for a lot of the hands, that was something that was very important to me to photograph. To make sure that I was preserving, that some of the grandmas say, well, I look so old, and I'm going, you look just amazing, right? Because it's like, this is wisdom. I wanted to capture their wisdom with those older things of their hands, the wrinkles and textures, the wrinkles on their faces tell their story.
You said those are the tools of her trade. What are they?
Yeah, she's a shaman. And she became a shaman later in life. I guess 65, I think she said she became a shaman because I think the previous male shaman in their group had passed away and there was nobody to take over, and she felt the calling to do it. So she doesn't do it now as much. I mean, she's up there, but she's got a lot of energy, but she still doesn't. She retired, I think, in her 90s. Oh, yeah, Yi. I was telling the story earlier. Yi over here with her hat down in her hands. She had, she's still farming to this day. She had 96. I was talking to her great niece who brought her in, and she said that, oh yeah, she's picking up 60-pound bags of cabbages and running them over. And when we sat her up to take the picture, she kind of came in and was looking around, and I said, well, you can come and sit up over here. And there was a stool there, and she just ran up and hopped up onto it. And I just like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's like I would probably break in half if I did that. But no, I mean, just amazing. Some of these ladies are, still working in the fields and just talking about how much they were talking about. Oh my gosh, I can't not farm. I love farming so much. So and a lot of them are still have booths at the local fairs and stuff like that, selling their wares to this day. So yeah, make sure you go out and help them out. Oh yes.
I just want to compliment you, just the backdrop that you mentioned and the table that you brought in, and just your approach to photographing these ladies is just, it's very, it's very powerful, and it's like you really do see, even without checking the QR code, that you really do actually, you hear their story even by just looking at the image. But I'd also like to say, just your style gives a very almost hyper-realistic painting look. So I actually had to ask a friend of mine, are these photos or are they paintings? Because I just was looking at that, because it really does, you've captured so much of that detail, so much of that beauty that they were worried about, the wrinkles, the things, the age. But it's just, there's a softness to it. There's just a surrealism to it all as well. But it's really beautiful. I mean,
Thank you so much.
You've done a stunning job with these photos and these just telling the story of these wonderful women.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and that was a really prominent piece of this, was to how do I process the images down, because I'm a light editor. I don't like to edit at all. The more that AI comes into this and you say, oh, you can just touch a button and everything's edited, it's like, I am almost moving back into film and developing it myself and just no editing whatsoever. Because I think there's something special about trying to just capture the person just uniquely as they are and not worrying about the superficiality of it, because everybody's beautiful. And it's just taking the time and giving them the space to feel and relax. And that's one of the things, when you walk into a studio, there's all this stuff, and everybody kind of panics. It's like they go, whoa, what's all these lights? My mother herself, I brought her into the studio, and she was a little, there's lots of equipment and stuff. But instead, it's like once you allow them to sit down and have them tell a little bit about their story and let them start feeling that, that's what I waited for a lot of this stuff, just to let them feel what they needed to feel and then capture them then. And it was never far from my mind that being respectful and making sure that they were represented properly was just having access to these ladies is lucky. I mean, it's true luck and a gift for me to be able to do this. So, but if there's any other questions, then I can. Oh yes.
Comment or question. You had shared with me earlier, and some of us, that this is a very patriarchal society, and that this is not something that would be ordinary for them, for the women, to be treated this way and to see this kind of respect.
Yeah, I think internally, obviously, the families. I mean, these are the anchors of the family, right? But it is a patriarchal society for sure, and it's the men's stories are more prominent, and a lot of that is in the modern era related to the war, the secret war, and the child soldiers and what they had to go through. But my thoughts on this, and the reason why I believe I got the grant to begin with, was what are the women's stories that they saw that in this transition? Because it's like a lot of these elders, like 102-year-old grandma, saw the Japanese in World War II come through their village. And she was an adult. So you get a kind of a feeling of what these stories were, where everybody in the village said, take the kids and get to the jungle. they ran into the jungle and they waited until the Japanese left. You know, and it's just like, this type of thing, you know, these stories are the stuff that are told within families, but they're not part of the historical record that fills in those gaps. I mean, it's the cement to these blocks that really show what the challenges were. That was one of the things that I found interesting, was because there are pieces and these little interludes about one of the things we asked a lot of these elders: how did you meet your husband? What were your grandparents like? What did they do? What was day-to-day life? I was trying to reach earlier that they could remember stories that their families told them, you know, trying to pass those down and around so we could get some of that on tape somewhere, right? So one of the things that we're hoping to do, once the translation and all that stuff is done, to make curriculum for classes to be able to do that, so it can be used within the community and within any community can use these stories as learning opportunities. But also, you know, this will probably be donated. Reprinting will be donated to the Minnesota Historical Society to go into their language and Hmong preservation area. They've got a huge collection, so hopefully that can be part of that there. Anything around those pieces where this stuff can provide any balance to any sort of inclusion or understanding of other cultures to other schools, things like that. We did a couple of those, South Washington County. I was there for a week, and they had field trips to come and see it during those sessions. So the more opportunities that this work can be shown to, the more people, the better. So, yes?
Most of them have headdresses on. Is there any significance to those?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Maybe, Dr. Yang, could you fill that in?
So,
I'll pass you the mic.
So majority of the headpieces you'll see, they're pretty familiar, pretty similar. However, there are a few that is a little different, and that represents the different part of the region that they are from. Some of their clothing is also unique to their clan or their family heritage and whatnot. So that's the reason for the different headpieces, the different clothing designs, the shafts that they have on.
Can you talk about the different regions, the white, the green, the black?
So from my understanding, that's kind of like our northern region, a southern region, and how we have different. So the white Hmong and the green Hmong, we have different dialects, and those dialects is kind of like our southern dialects and our northern dialect. So that's from my understanding.
Anyone else? Well, if not, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out and seeing this work. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I have there's some forms and some sheets over there that have links to Minnesota Geojage, especially right there as well. Donations can be made there. And if you have any questions that we can help you out, I just thank everybody for coming and being a part of this. And I'm just lucky for the center here just to have the opportunity to display the work and have people see it. So thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate it. I think that's it. And I think